How was that for a quick turnaround, folks? This is Trade on Demand Analysis. I'm James. I'm with Dekes. I'm with Shayne. How you guys doing?
Okay, Mike was turned off.
Yep.
Happened to me last show too. Doing good, man. This is pretty. I don't know if it's unexpected or not. I mean, Bergie never really reveals it, no matter what the media tries to get out of him a day before a rumored trade. I love it.
Yeah. Didn't he say he wasn't going to do any trades recently?
That's what he just said.
All reserved.
He never gives anything away. If you knew anything about Marc Bergevin, it shouldn't come as a surprise that a trade is announced the day after he said nothing's likely to happen. So here we go.
Okay, so why don't we just break down the terms real quick for anyone who hasn't caught the trade yet. It was we've got it up here on Twitter. I'm just going to scroll down a bit. Picks for Eric Staal. So basically a win now trade. It looks like something that I think puts a lot of people on alert that Montreal wants to win the season. Eric Staal, obviously a great veteran, huge experience, won a cup. I mean, where do you guys see him immediately slotting in? Like, how did the chess pieces move with this move, and what can we expect from him after basically what we saw earlier this season with the Sabres as being basically a wash? Like, what can you actually expect out of Eric at this point, who's pretty in his career?
I think the first thing is that the first thing I thought of, I guess, when I saw that the Canadiens acquired Staal, was that it's going to take the pressure off of Jake Evans at center. And I know Suzuki and Kotkaniemi are still going through somewhat of growing pains this season, but he's going to maybe alleviate the pressure at center, and he can also play the wing. So I think he's going to be, it's pretty clear, like a third or fourth line, but it's so early to tell right now. I mean, this just happened, so it's hard to really picture exactly where they'll put Stalzy. But the good news about Stalzy is that, especially from a locker room perspective, he doesn't have to come in and be that guy. Like, he's already coming into a great locker room. So that's a really good start for the Canadiens, number one. In Buffalo, he had to kind of come in and be that mentor for Jack Eichel and try to take the pressure off his shoulders as the captain of this team, which God knows what's going to happen to the Sabres now. If Hall's going to be next, Eichel maybe next year, who knows? I don't see how you ever trade Eichel, but in terms of Staal, there's pressure off of him now coming into the Canadiens locker room. He just kind of has to come in and play. That's all Staal has to do, is come in and play.
I completely agree. I mean, he must be so relieved right now. Seeing his phone, he's like, oh, finally, I'm out of Buffalo. Like, it's sad to say, but Buffalo's a dumpster fire right now. And, he's coming to hopefully a playoff team, an easy role per se, and great wingers, right? He's probably going to play alongside Corey Perry. I mean, if you told me that 10 years ago, that Eric Staal and Corey Perry were going to play on the same line for the Habs, I would have told you you're crazy. That's insane to think of. But it's going to be fun to see what Duchamp has in store for him. I'm looking forward to his first game. It should be fun. I like the trade. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I actually had James, you have something there? Oh, you're muted there. Okay, I'll keep going until you tell me.
No. Sorry, I am trying to... When I say that we jumped on this on the fly, trust me, not a popular decision across the household here, but we had to make it happen. So the comments, bring them on. We're on a lot of reaction, obviously, immediately from the fans here, wanting to just get some insight as to what the heck is happening. Is this going to be the only move before the deadline, or is this a sign of things to come? Do we see more on the horizon here? Is there still time to do something?
I don't think so. And another reason for that, I think a lot of fans are wondering, we've been talking about it for a while now, about Cole Caufield. And Wisconsin is just about to lose and be knocked out of, basically the NCAA season is finishing for them right now. And now the 7-day quarantine is down to 7 days. So we have an opportunity now, the Canadiens do, to bring in Cole Caufield on an entry-level deal, see what he can do. In terms of trades, I think Montreal would maybe like to add another defensive piece, if anything, to shore up the absence of Ben Sherratt. I think most fans are expecting Bergevin to maybe consider that. And with this 7-day quarantine really following through and it being they didn't waste any time. They put Stalzy in here. So I would love to see Caufield. I mean, Brandon Legacy and I were just talking, Brandon, in the group chat a minute ago. And the timing just seems perfect for this to happen. So, I would be surprised if they didn't just immediately call Cole Caufield's agent right now and just say, listen, before the day's done, do we get a deal done here? So
Shayne, you think that's going to happen? You think they're just going to go all in now and just they see an opportunity?
Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure either. Go ahead, Dekes.
No, I'm just going to say, we don't have any insight on the fact that Cole Caufield's coming to Montreal. We don't know if that's going to happen. That's just kind of, Habs fans craving for it to happen. And I think there's just a real good opportunity for it to happen now with the quarantine coming into Canada, going down to 7 days. So Bergevin now trending in Canada on Twitter. So there we are. But go ahead if you have some more thoughts there, Shayne.
I'm not sure what happens with Caufield. Either he signs with us or Laval, but I really hope that he does join the organization somehow. I think he was insane in the NCAA. If he doesn't win the Hobey Baker, it's a travesty. Straight up, he's putting up record numbers, and the high praise he's getting from everyone around the league is just amazing to see. So I'm excited whichever way he decides to go, Laval, Montreal, whatever. I'm looking forward to it. But someone that I don't want to be in their shoes right now is Jake Evans. I feel like he'd be a bit scared seeing another center like Eric Staal coming in the team. Is his position guaranteed anymore? Who knows, right? So I'm feeling for him right now, but it's also a great day to be a Habs fan. I'll say that.
Just a good problem to have, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
Right. So, I mean, as fans now, where does this mentally put you as expectation setting? I mean, I know it's one player, he's late 30s, didn't put up a lot of points this season thus far, but again, does it speak to you in the sense that now you got a guy who's done some stuff, he's coming in, it shows management serious and believes in the team, obviously. Where does that put you guys, what expectation-wise now with the season, with the rest of it to play out, with Carey playing better, with all these things that we've seen, the young centers, really on schedule? Where does that put you as a fan, your expectations?
I think this is an opportunity to be able to compete with Toronto. If we're going to play the Leafs in the first round, if Montreal finishes fourth and the Leafs finish first, we got to be able to match up against them. And having Wayne Simmons, Joe Thornton, Spezza, we got to have guys like Corey Perry, Eric Staal, forwards that can actually match up to their experience and intensity, the whole shebang. And that's kind of looking forward again to assuming that the Canadiens make the playoffs. But if we're going to be playing teams like Winnipeg, Toronto, who throw Edmonton in there, I mean, we have to be deep lines 1 to 4. And I don't think that Jake Evans is, obviously had a great start to this season, and so did the entire team, right? And then we saw that they fell down to earth a little bit, which was fine. So I don't think that Jake Evans should feel any worse. I mean, if he does get bumped out of the lineup, hey, you know what? This is potentially just a rental. So which means Jake Evans, future with the Canadiens it's not up in the air. In other words, he's still got a future with the team. So, but as a fan for expectations, I mean, I just like what Eric Staal brings. I was excited for Buffalo when they got him because I knew how much of a leader and how much of a presence he could be to a guy like Jack Eichel, who's had the weight of the world on his shoulders for all these years with the team already. So, but again, like I mentioned earlier, I'm just glad that he can just come in and play wherever Dom Ducharme's open-minded, first of all. So I think that he's not going to be afraid to play him with whoever he wants. So I don't even know if it's, Staal's going to be locked into like a fourth line spot. I wouldn't limit him to that. I think he can play up and down the lineup, which is going to be huge for them going down the stretch.
For sure. Special teams as well. Where do you see him slotting in on special teams?
First unit. Yeah. On the first unit power play, the second unit power play got so much better. And I think that adding Stalzy to the first unit could definitely help. And he can definitely be on the PK as well. Just leadership, you just see it through and through with the guy. And I didn't see this coming. I'm not going to lie. I kind of got caught off guard by this trade. I thought the Leafs had a maybe better chance to get him. And now there's rumors that the Leafs may actually go after somebody like Taylor Hall. Who knows? But we're not going to get into that right now. That's just speculation. This is a deal that actually happened. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then I think Seji said something interesting there. Last season, Staal had 47 points in 66 games. He still got it, right? He's not back to his good old Carolina days where he's just tearing up the league, but he's still an efficient player, kind of like Corey Perry. Those are two guys that you're getting really cheap that can bring a lot of leadership and experience, mentorship for the younger guys, and still get the puck in the net, right? They're still efficient on the ice, still doing something. Obviously, the power play is just bumped up a notch now with Eric Staal. I'm pumped. I want to see what this can bring. I'm really excited.
No, that's awesome.
What are your expectations, Producer James?
I don't have any. I just think that you make moves like this when you're serious about winning games deep in the playoffs. And he's been a great player everywhere. Yeah, Team Canada, Carolina, the Wild. I mean, he's just been someone that you're better having. He's a guy that makes you net better. And whatever short-term machinations they have to go through to accommodate him, they're going to be, I think, worth it. So it's a good move. But again, when's the next game is a big question. Can they get him up in time to do some stuff? I mean, Buffalo's not far, but it is, as you said, on the other side of the border. So there's going to have to be some waiting, I guess, to deal with all that. Dekes, I'm going to make you in charge for a minute. Like I said, I threw this together on a dime, so I need to go into the green room for a sec. But are you guys okay to keep going for a few minutes while we got questions? We got tons of questions here and comments in the side.
Yeah, fire them up. Yeah, by all means.
Okay, I'll take a seat. I'm going to bench myself for a sec, but you guys keep going. This is again, we're talking about the Eric Staal trade. We're talking about the move of picks for Eric Staal. Bergevin strikes again. Have at her, guys.
Well, yeah, here we go. So, I mean, 3rd and 5th round pick in 2021 going over to Buffalo. The only thing I haven't gotten clarification on, Shayne, is whether or not Montreal or Buffalo is going to be retaining salary. I would have to think that they will. Stalzy's cap hit was around just over $3 million for this season, and then it looks like he's a UFA again. So, just want to get clarification. I'm just keeping my eye on Twitter as well to see what the terms are for Montreal in terms of the money. So I'm going to also check out Cap Friendly while we're live on the air here. Thank you for tuning in to Habs Tonight, by the way, folks. Again, Eric Staal coming over to the Montreal Canadiens for a 3rd and 5th round pick in 2021. A nice depth piece for the Canadiens going into this final run towards the playoffs. Caught me off guard, like I just mentioned, Shayne. And we'll take some questions if we can. We're going to check out the chat here. Not everybody's a fan of this deal, but it looks there's only maybe 1 or 2 I've seen so far, but let's see what we can do for questions. I'm a little bit new to StreamYard myself, or whatever. I don't know if we're supposed to reveal what software we're using, but I just did. So anyway, let's just see what fans are really thinking about this deal. And if you have any other questions that come up, Shayne, let me know.
For sure. I think I saw somewhere that Buffalo's retaining 50%, but I'm not confirming anything. Just something I saw, but I believe it's 50%. Which would make sense.
We have David Arthur actually here down. We'll pop this up for folks. It looks like Buffalo retains 50%. So that I haven't confirmed that with any sources yet, but I mean, we'll take David's word for it for now, and we'll hold you accountable if it's not true, David. I'm just kidding. But that's what it looks like. Johnny Golden also coming on here saying the same, 50%. Somebody's asking if Marc Bergevin is done. What's his next move? Well, we kind of just discussed that a moment ago there. So, Shayne, what do you think that Bergevin should still maybe do or consider before the deadline on April 12th?
Yeah, the next priority is obviously Caufield. I mean, you have to get in touch with him as soon as possible. Obviously, he just lost, a pretty big game, so you might want to leave him time to say goodbye to his teammates. He was a big part of the Wisconsin team, but for sure, Marc needs to get in touch with Caufield, get something done there, and I guess test out the market, like see what's available at trade deadline. A lot of names like Matthias Ekholm have been circulating around the Habs. If another defenseman could work, maybe I heard Vince Dunn from St. Louis would also like to be traded. So who knows? I'm thinking like right now the priority is Caufield, obviously, but can never know with Berge, really. Like this, who woke up this morning thinking we would have Eric Staal on our team? Like this guy's just so unpredictable, but you gotta love him. He's done a great job this season. Toffoli, Anderson, Allen, Edmondson. He's on top of his game, Bergevin. I like it. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's hard to fart. Oh, I just said fart. We're live. We can't do anything about this right now. It's hard to fault FAULT. It's hard to fault Bergevin for the effort. No one's ever going to let me live that one down. I tell you right now. But
nickname.
No one's ever going to hopefully fault Bergevin for the effort he's made before this season. And, there's a lot of mixed opinions about Bergevin, especially from players who have played under him. But in terms of from a fan perspective, I mean, I appreciated how much effort and work he put into carving out this current edition of the Canadiens, because I don't know that we're quite contenders yet. I think that still remains to be seen. I think I'm still not convinced on that side yet, but I do like the idea of this move because at least says that we still mean business. Bergevin said that at the beginning of the season. We mean business. Well, this clarifies that for me when you bring in a depth piece like Eric Staal. And we can confirm that the salary retained by the Sabres is 50%. If you check out capfriendly.com, it does say that the Canadiens retain $1.625 million in salary for the remainder of Eric Staal's cap hit for the remainder of this season. Again, Eric Staal, 36 years old. And if you can guess, Shayne, on hockeydb.com, Eric Staal is the number one searched item. And right behind him at number 2 is Cole Caufield.
Yep. We're trending. We're buzzing. Montreal is buzzing right now. This is a good day to be a Habs fan. Like I said earlier, I think it's a good day to be Eric Staal too. He's getting out of a really shitty situation. Let's be honest here. Buffalo, 15 straight? Like, that's terrible. The locker room must be so toxic. It's like a breath of fresh air for him. I'm sure he's pumped right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's a tough go. I really feel for Buffalo and their fan base, to be honest with you. They just have had a rough go for so long. This is going to be their 10th season. It's going to be a decade where they've missed the playoffs. And nobody envies that, obviously. But I really hope that they become like the comeback story of the NHL, because I live half an hour up the road from the city of Buffalo here in Niagara Falls on the Canadian side, and have had a chance to sort of follow along with the Sabres fan base, including Melody Martin, who's become a very successful hockey YouTuber. If you haven't heard of her, she's doing some amazing stuff on her channel. Alyssa from our Habs Tonight team is very familiar with Melody as well, I believe. And you just have to feel for their fan base. The Sabres have just gone through it, and I feel like it'd be pretty cool to see them have a comeback story for the ages. Their fans are dedicated, they're loyal, and they haven't had a Stanley Cup. And I just love seeing teams that have never won before win one. So that's a sidebar for Sabres fans, because we do feel for you at this point. We don't know what's going to come next for that franchise. I mean, do you just blow it all up, right? Kevin Adams having to step behind the bench last night. That was an interesting experience seeing that. But I do like Kevin Adams, and I do like the effort that he's put in so far. And I think that after Botterill was released last year, it does seem like they trust the vision that Kevin Adams has for the team. It's not going to happen overnight. And here's the main thing, Shayne, that I'll say about the Sabres, and then we'll move back to the Staal trade here, is that I really believe the Sabres were set up for failure this season with this division. I mean, nobody was prepared for this, pandemic, of course, but the situation that the Sabres were put into because of it really was a recipe for failure. And if you look around the divisions around the league, it's the hardest division, and at least in my opinion anyway. So I can't really say that I'm surprised that the Sabres are struggling as much as they have this season.
No, neither am I. I mean, there is a good chance that Buffalo will bounce back, and I'm also rooting for them. Their fans are, you can't talk smack about them, right? They stuck around through thick and thin. It's mostly been thin. It's just not been good for them. But like, you keep Dahlin in mind, you keep Eichel. Those are two guys you can definitely build a good team off. And then Hall, right? You can get a lot for Hall at the trade market. So I'm thinking trade deadline, if they get rid of Hall, they could get a lot back, including picks. So now if they're starting to load up on picks, their future is starting to look good, right? Obviously they have to draft right, but their chances are good. Like, they have a good young core. So I'm not too worried about their future, but right now it's not pretty.
Yeah, it just kind of adds on to everything they've already gone through, right? But again, I just wasn't surprised that this was the situation the Sabres found themselves in. They took a shot on Taylor Hall, and he was pretty open in the media the other night saying, he's open to hearing some trade calls. And with Staal leaving, now I wouldn't be so surprised if Taylor Hall did. He just seems like a loyal guy, but at this point, you just don't really know what the future looks like for the Sabres. So he may have to take a chance now. It's going to be his best opportunity as a free agent after this season to earn the dollars that he rightfully earned throughout his career, namely with the New Jersey Devils winning the Hart Trophy there. But yeah, back to I guess we'll go back to the Canadiens here. See what our viewers are saying on the side below. Let's see. Philadelphia, some comments. Yeah, Philly's having a rough go as well. That's very true, which is surprising. And you know what? It's kind of selfish on our behalf, Shayne, because unfortunately, I wouldn't say unfortunately, but Canadian hockey team fans are really focused on the North Division this season, right? If we're really honest, right? Like, so it's hard to know exactly all the storylines that are going on around the league if we're just being perfectly transparent and honest. But the New York Islanders are a huge story right now. There's just so much happening, but when we get into the North Division, it's kind of like you get tunnel vision, right? You just only see what's happening in this division, and it's been entertaining, and we're hopefully going to see more Canadian matchups return, even if the North Division doesn't return next year. For
sure. I mean, to touch on Philly, that is insane. Like, you lose 2 games by blowouts against an average Rangers team, and I'm honestly sad for Carter Hart. Like, at the beginning of the season, I had him very high, possible Vezina winner. In my opinion, this guy has so much potential, but I have no idea what's going on this season. It is not pretty. 2 blowout losses to the Rangers. That just that can't feel good. And Mika Zibanejad, I mean, next time they play him, they might have to break his leg or something. Like, get some kind of advantage against this guy, because he is a machine against them. It makes no sense.
I like this thought down below from Anton James regarding, I'm assuming this is in reference to the Canadiens, why not bring back Scandella? Mm-hmm. I mean, now that move would make a lot of sense. I think if the Canadiens actually were to bring back Marco Scandella, who was a Montreal native or a Montreal fan, he actually drove from Buffalo to Montreal last year when he got traded to the Canadiens. So yeah, that's an idea, but I do believe he signed a term. So let's just, for the sake of argument, take a look at Marco Scandella's hockey or cap friendly here and just see what we'd be looking at. Now, I don't know what the availability would be like. I think that St. Louis, he signed until 2024 at a cap hit of 3.275. So I think that would probably be a pretty difficult contract to move at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Because that is a good thought. I mean, for the short stint that he had in Montreal, I loved him. I think he brought a lot to the team. He's a big guy. He's from around here. So it's a good idea, but again, with the cap situation, I don't know if that would work. We'd have to definitely move some pieces to make that work. I'm not sure.
Well, the thought was there. I mean, before he signed that big extension with St. Louis, it was a good idea because he would have fit in perfectly right now in place of Ben Sherratt. But let's see what let's see what Romanov can do. Let's see. Maybe if they eventually give Cale Fleury a look here, right? I mean, I think fans would really like to see some Cale Fleury going forward, Shayne.
For sure. And another guy who's been tearing it up in Laval is Josh Brook. I mean, this guy's been a beauty all season long. Again, another big guy. He can skate, move the puck, get it in the net. So maybe not this season, but I think next season we might be giving Josh Brook a shot. He's been really, really good for the Rocket.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Rocket is they've really solidified their development over there under Joel Bouchard. Ever since he took over as coach, it seems like there's a trust between him and the players, and they seem to be developing a little smoother than in the past under previous coaches. So I think we'd be willing to give him a chance. The only problem with that is bringing in someone like Josh Brook, who really hasn't had a lot of NHL experience to date, is that this is the stretch run. So I think you'd probably more likely to see Cale Fleury come in. But I mean, if Josh Brook is going to develop and be waiting in the wings for, say, next season, he should just keep doing what he's doing well, because obviously it's working, at least at the moment.
Exactly. And I mean, if we want to touch on Laval, let's talk about Jesse Ylönen, because, wow, I think it's something like 14 points in 18 games. And this is his first season in the AHL. I don't know what clicked, but I love it. He's a beauty to see on the ice. I mean, I watched some of their games, and I think yesterday he had an amazing goal, like Ovechkin style, just a bomb. but he's not a big guy, but man, he plays so well. Reminds me a little of Lekanen, to be honest. He's got the same kind of vibe to him. I like it.
Yeah, you'll have oh man, I wish I had a direct feed to watch the Laval Rocket games, because right now I'm limited to what I can see on the Rocket, which I wish wasn't the case, because I want to see how guys like Ylonen and even Ryan Poehling has bounced back a little bit this season with the Rocket, and has had a pretty good attitude considering being sent back down to the Rocket last year. So yeah, I'm just curious. Like I just don't want to lose sight of guys like Poehling and Ylonen, and just there's still plenty of opportunity for these guys. And going to a comment over here from Greg, we didn't get a chance to address this a minute ago, but the Canadiens were on Eric Staal's no trade list, and he agreed to waive his no trade to complete the trade to the Canadiens.
Wow.
So that's interesting. So I was just trying to read that to see, was it he was on the no trade list? Okay, so either way, he waived it to come to Montreal, so that's a good sign. And I think that a good thing about that, Shayne, is again attesting to what we were talking about earlier, is that Stalzy can just come in and just play. He doesn't have to worry about being the mentor. There's several leaders on this team, starting right from the net out. Carey Price. The way that Jake Allen has been playing, he's a leader too, in my opinion. He's a Stanley Cup winning goalie. And then you've got, of course, got Shea Weber, the captain on the back end, Jeff Petrie, Paul Byron as an assistant captain, Corey Perry, Philip Deneau. I consider him a leader. I mean, his future is obviously up in the air with this year, but we're going to focus on right now. So we're not going to focus on contracts that are expiring after this season. We're going to focus on right now, because that's why they just got Staal, was for right now. And that has to be the most encouraging sign, I think, for fans that really didn't see this coming, like me. Really, Bergie just again plays everything so tightly to the chest. And in this short time that we might have Eric Staal, I really hope that they get good use out of him. Shayne, what do you want to see out of him?
Efficiency, I guess. Like every shift, whether he plays 8 to 10 minutes a game, I want to see him on the puck. I want to see him move the puck. I want to see him score the puck. Right, that's what we want from him. We just want the OG Eric Staal, what he could bring to the Wild and to the Canes. I mean, he was one of the best players in the league at one point. So again, stability at the fourth, maybe third line. Just like you said, we want him to play. That's it. Don't worry about anything else. We'll take care of the rest. Sorry. So, James is back. Let's go.
Well, I was going to say we've got some shows we want to promote.
Yeah, for sure.
On the network here before we log off for the day, because I know everyone kind of just left their work on the table to do this, and I know we've got a great audience watching. So thanks for tuning in on such short notice.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. It's incredible. So a couple of things just leading into the weekend here. So we had this trade. Obviously, we'll talk more about it. We see Wednesdays coming up on Wednesday. We got Chris Pronger joining the program, which is in its own right incredible. I believe Chris has played with Eric on Team Canada, if I'm not mistaken. So they would have been
correct on that one.
Yep. So stars aligned on that one. But we got Don Cherry coming up. Here we go.
There he is.
Don coming up. Oh, and sorry, the show may go on a little longer than I'm stipulating here, but just to be clear, we've got Don Cherry tomorrow, the first time on Saturday night in quite some time for Grapes, and we couldn't be more excited. And we're gonna let Aaron join the fray here for a sec. Hey, Aaron Amadeus, the host of We See Wednesdays.
Hey, host.
You look familiar.
We See Wednesdays. What's going on? I was just hearing James Black talking there. There's a trade that's pretty awesome.
Do you know for who, Mr. Amadeus?
Yeah, well, of course I know for who. For Eric Staal. And just to say that Habs tonight, we had the, don't pat ourselves on the back, but definitely had the scoop on this. That's all we're going to say. Nothing else. It's in my opinion, great addition for Montreal. The leadership on the Habs right now, if you are a fan of the team, which everybody here is, you should be really excited because Eric Staal will bring you a couple of goals. I mean, he had that breakout season in Minnesota a few years ago where everybody was like, what? He still has that? But he's going to bring you a lot of leadership. He's going to come in and he's going to elevate different players on the fourth line as well as the third line. He's going to show accountability. He's going to demand a little bit of respect when people go into that dressing room. And that does quite a bit for that team. So the issue is going to be the 7-day quarantine. they haven't been official on that yet, but as from what I'm hearing right now from who I spoke with is that, the trade went down today because of that quarantine, and it didn't go down yesterday because there was still a couple of unknowns about that. I just got off the phone with Mr. Cherry himself, Mr. Don Cherry, and we were talking for just a couple of minutes because we're doing a little prep work for tomorrow's show. And he said, I'm actually so excited to talk Habs now because the Habs have, what did he say? He said they got the good boy Staal. He said he got Staal. We're going to talk Tim Peel, and we're going to talk about the Habs in the 70s, 60s, and that era. And he was just really pumped. So
that's awesome.
It's just cool to talk hockey, and that's really, really the exciting part. So, what were you guys talking about in the terms of the trade? Because this has taken people over by, I don't want to say storm, but this is one of the first, other than earlier in the year with Patrick Laine and Dubois. This is probably the only other trade of, I don't want to say of substance, but something that just came out of the blue, right? You had the issues with Torts and everything like that. And now all of a sudden here, you got a team that's going through a COVID issue that they're blocked off. You've got a team that kind of needs that fourth line experience, those guys coming in. Kotkaniemi is going to get so much experience from this. It's going to help Danault. I definitely think you're going to see Staal in that fourth line center role. He might push up to number 3. What does that do for Danault? There's a lot. It's interesting stuff here. And also Staal can play the wing, right? This is another thing that a lot of people don't talk about.
We touched on it earlier a little bit. Yep.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. I will stop talking because
okay.
I'm just blabbing here for a couple of minutes. You know me. Once I start, it's very hard for me to stop, which is very good for a live show, by the way.
We needed you. Come on. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I got to go make dinner in a minute. But Aaron, you raised a lot of great points. I mean, it's a win now move. It's a move that a team that is obviously has ambitions this year already. They're going to do something. This isn't a hide in the closet move. We're coming out. We're here to play hockey. We're here to maybe win some playoff games. And this is the kind of guy you get. And it triggers other things, as the guys have discussed, that maybe can happen as a result of it. And it's exciting. I mean, as a fan, you want to see your team commit every year to try to winning the cup. And you can only do it with guys like Eric Staal. You need guys like that on the team, whether it's third, fourth line, power play, whatever. You need those kind of guys. And he's proven he can do it and do it on a big stage. So everyone should be excited. We're not seeing a lot of negativity on this one so far. But if you have a good hot take on this, let us know on the side, on the comments or tweet us.
Yeah, I don't know how long you guys want to go on this show for. I mean, if someone wants to come in and talk for a couple of minutes, I don't know if you want to do that or not. But I'm sure with 150 people, over 150 people just sitting here watching this and watching our opinions, I think maybe a couple of people want to chit chat about it. And if you do, I'll stay for a couple of minutes. And obviously you got to make the macaroni and cheese. At the house.
I gotta go make the mac and cheese for sure.
We all have kids. We all have kids, and I am a kid.
I'm having ribs tonight.
Oh, ribs! Le Baton.
They must already be cooking,
right? Yeah, take 2 hours.
Cooking for a few days. Tomorrow we got Cherry. Everyone's gonna be that's on now is obviously going to be on tomorrow for that. Shayne, Monday you've got a show, La Tour de la Ligue, presented to you en français, right? I got that right? Got it?
En effet, autour de la Ligue avec Annick et moi. Lundi, Monday.
Oh,
I discovered you. Sorry.
That was so much better than all of us. Yep.
Bonne fête, Annick, by the way.
Oui,
bonne
fête,
Annick Lemaire. Yes.
Yeah, you're the co-host on that program for sure. We see Wednesdays. We already mentioned, Aaron, as you were coming on. Chris Pronger next Wednesday. I'm sure you realized you already knew that. And then Crushing Cans. Last night we debuted Crushing Cans with Derek Weiss. That's the older brother of Habs Tonight stalwart Dale Weiss. Okay, so the two brothers, they both have programs on this channel. And Derek and Brandon Legacy, crushing beers, crushing soda waters, crushing bottles of wine, whatever it is, boxes of wine, actually, is probably more appropriate. And just talking about sports and life and gambling and all the other things that make you just want to crush a can. That's what they're talking about. So hopefully you guys are tuning into all that. Most importantly, I'll leave on this happy note. We just crossed the 2,000 follower threshold on Instagram. So if you're paying attention to Instagram, thank you. Like, hit, subscribe. We appreciate it. And on that happy note, I'm going to leave you guys for the rest of the show. But really thank everyone for jumping in so quickly on this news. I'm glad that our ability to get you this content so quickly is being responded to. So I'm James. I'm the producer, and I got to go make macaroni.
Thanks, James. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Aaron.
Okay, so James out of here. We got Drew Dekes. We have Shayne. We have myself sitting here. Let's go to some of the comments that are coming in. Once again, Eric Staal is now officially a Montreal Canadien, traded from the Buffalo Sabres to the Habs for a 3rd-round pick and a 5th-round pick this year. Let's look at just some of these comments. Another great one here from Randy. Where is he going to fit in the lineup? It's a great question. Once again, I think there's space for him anywhere.
He can move up and down. And that's what I was saying to Shayne earlier is that, when he went into Buffalo, he was expected to take on this leadership, mentorship role to help out guys like Jack Eichel, who had the entire team on his back, right? And now he comes into Montreal. He doesn't have to do that. He just has to show up and play. You got Corey Perry. You already have that was a nice depth piece to grab in the offseason, who's been a huge impact player for the Montreal Canadiens this season. And then you've got your leadership from the back end out with Pricey, Weber, Petrie, and then of course you mentioned Perry again, and then just like guys like Gallagher. Like, they got a good locker room already, and then now you add in Eric Staal.
Yeah,
like, think about that, right?
If you're watching the show, please right now click on the thumbs up. Give us that helps the algorithm in YouTube really push us, and we really just want to talk hockey. So we want this to be out there for everybody in the YouTube algorithm. It's really tough to figure out. We're getting there. Comments, please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow us on all of our social platforms at Habs Tonight. Make sure you subscribe. We're on Twitter all the time. 2 days ago, Habs Tonight said that there was going to be a trade, and it happened. Let's just keep going through over here. John writes in another low risk deal. It's a great point. And the whole point is, what are they going to do? Got some cap space issues, but remember, there's no cap in the playoffs. Ben Sherratt, if he comes back in, does he come back in right before the playoffs? If he does, there'll be some issues. If he doesn't, and he comes right back in at the playoffs when they start, in theory, you could have Caufield. You can have all these players sitting there ready. And I expect to see a Caufield signing by this weekend. It would make sense. I'm not an insider in that area, but it would make sense that Caufield puts ink to paper at some point this week or this weekend with everything that's happening right now. How many games do you get him in the NHL? That'll be interesting because I believe it's 6 he can only burn through before being the RFA. So we'll go from there. If anybody wants to get online with us right now and chit chat, you can email us live at habstonight.com. We'll get you in with your webcam and we can talk a little bit about your thoughts on this trade and how it's going to affect the Montreal Canadiens. The sad thing is, you know what? I mean, think about it. So 7 days, Habs are not playing till when?
Well, right now it's Monday is the next game against Ottawa. So we don't know if that's going to happen for sure still. Like, we haven't gotten word on, whether the game's going to go ahead or not, but it's supposed to be Monday.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Okay.
But I think you're right about Caufield, Aaron. We actually Shayne and I were just talking about, we had some fans of the show saying, what does Marc Bergevin do next now? And I think we all said the same thing with Cole Caufield and the Wisconsin Badgers losing today. Like, that now's the time. The timing of Stalzy coming in, the timing of the 7-day quarantine rules being, loosened a bit is the best time to bring in a guy like Cole Caufield and just see what he can do. The Canadiens still need goals. And who better than Cole Caufield right now? I know. But, you know what? The truth is, why not at this point? I think the Canadiens need that extra push. And if you're going to get him some playing experience before the playoffs, there's only so much time to do that. And I think it's now or never, really. Now or next season.
Per ESPN, the Canadiens were on Eric Staal's no-trade list, and he agreed to waive to complete the trade. That's from Johnny Golden. I don't know that, so I'm just reading the comment. Johnny, if this is correct, then it is.
Yeah, a few people said that.
Okay, so if this is correct, that's actually very big news. We've had this problem, in the city of Montreal and Habs fans where players did not want to come here, but then you have players like Kotkaniemi, Nick Suzuki, Romanov, Carey Price, Corey Perry, Shea Weber. You have all the
Petrie have a Norris season.
You took it out of my mouth. So you have all these players, and now these other players are saying, you know what? I have a chance. And if it is my last season, I don't think it's Staal's last season. I think he's got a couple left. But if it is his chance right now to do something amazing, he's going to take it with Montreal because he knows he can ride Carey Price. Having these three guys come back in who've all won gold together in the Olympics, and we're not talking the recent Olympics either in 2014. We're talking, back in Vancouver, right? So that's a little bit of time ago. But, and you still have those three individuals going to be on a team. That's how many other players from that 2010 team are still around? I know you got Drew Doughty. That's actually something I got to look at the stats on that. I really have to look at the stats on that one to see who's in. Okay, I know Anton wants to come in. We'll send him. I'll send him over an invite. I know we're all talking here. You guys take it over, and I'll send over a little bit of an invite here to some of the folks who want to come in.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on one point, actually. Someone in the comments said it earlier, but this 2021 draft is really tricky because teams don't really get to scout the players correctly. Like the junior players aren't playing as many games, and there's not going to be any combine. So the scouting process is all screwed up. So, to liquidate those picks there, the 2021 picks, I think is even smarter than some people realize. Like, these picks are so unpredictable that might as well, trade him for someone that what you're getting out of. Like Eric Staal is a for sure thing. And yeah, it's a low risk trade. I completely agree.
That's a really, really good point, actually, because scouting is so limited this year with COVID, right? So that's a really good observation, Shayne. Yeah, 100%. And again, with Eric Staal, it's just like he just brings that an extra intangible that you need if we're actually going to make a push this year. And if we're going to be playing Toronto or Winnipeg in the first round of the playoffs, should we get to the playoffs, they've got their guys. They've got their Wayne Simmons, Spets, Joe Thornton. There's rumors that they want to take a swing at Taylor Hall here. Who knows? But you got to be ready for this final push, and this is at least a sign to the Canadiens that Marc Bergevin believes in this team. As he said from the very beginning of the season, we mean business, and adding Eric Staal really affirms that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the guys that this group believes in themselves, but also to your point there, Drew, is that you got to remember as well, this is, I believe, Marc Bergevin does not have a contract for next year. I think this is his last year as the GM on paper. One more year
left. I think one more. Yeah.
Whatever that may be, I think he realizes the noose around the neck is kind of, the tie is getting a little bit tight, and he has to make these choices, and he has to do these things. So this is something the Canadiens have to do, and as a fan, I'm glad that they did it. The one thing that I'm not crazy about, and I'm just going to put this out there, we've had issues with the past where a lot to do with the Montreal Canadiens where there's not a lot of transparency, where there's injuries, and then, you hear fake news and you hear certain other things. I'm not crazy. I'd love to see in the comments here, folks. I'm not crazy how just yesterday Bergevin said, yeah, sorry, nothing's going to happen. I'm so close to the cap, no trades. And then not even a day later, this happens. As a GM, I get what he's doing. He's protecting his players. He's protecting the organization. But as a fan of the team, I find you kind of lose the integrity. There's whatever you say, there's nothing that I can believe when you say it. I just don't like that. And he did it with PK. He did it with all these players. He does this all the time. This is the second time he's done it in the past couple of weeks where he said, yeah, I'm not trading for anybody. I'm not doing that. So close to the cap. And then literally he makes a trade. And, we're not giving up a roster player. That's okay. But why would you go on the media, not even, 14 hours ago and say you're not doing it and then do it? So to me, that is just kind of the Habs have got to be a little bit more transparent. And even to answer that question, saying, listen, I don't want to make any trades. It's going to be really tough this year to do that. If an opportunity comes up and we, find a player, I'm not going to say no. But for him to go out there and put his stamp and say no. And you know what? LT 26 says they disagree. Why should he show his hand? It's a fair point. Why should he show his hand? But by saying that you're interested in upgrading your team if you have an opportunity, I don't think that means you're showing your hand. I think you're just basically saying, yeah, I'm willing to work with other GMs if they have something that let's talk about, And clearly Buffalo was obviously not watching Montreal television and, did not care too much about that, what Bergie had to say, right? So.
Well, the thing is, I have the official quote here and just pulling it up from Bergevin. And what he said was, and the thing is, like, he was forced to do that press conference because of the fact that one of the Canadiens players got COVID, right? So, I mean, if that didn't happen, that press conference probably doesn't happen, and we have no word on trades or anything at all before this actually went down. So, but he said, we have no cap space, so I mean, it's money in, money out. Expectation to do something at the deadline is probably very unlikely. So, I mean, this isn't the deadline. So, no, I know it's semantics there, but
the problem it's not with that. The problem is his history with this, and
it's the history,
the transparency that he does not have. Just be transparent. There's so many ways to answer that question when it comes to trades, where you don't put yourself in kind of a corner, and he did. We're bringing in. Remember, if you want to be on the show right now, this is a live show right now talking about the trade. Email us live at habstonight.com. We'll get you in. Let's go to Anton. Anton, we're going to fit you in the screen over here in this little spot somewhere. Hey, bud, how's it going? We're doing good. What are your thoughts on the trade?
I like the trade. We don't know how long Kotkaniemi is going to be on the COVID protocol list, so it's a really good trade for us. We need veterans down the line in the center because we got a lot of young guys playing center. And at the end of the day, we don't know if Danault's going to re-sign at the end of the year. So if Danault doesn't re-sign, we have a backup plan with Eric Staal.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I don't know. I think, Eric Staal is a little bit older in this point of his career. I mean, Danault is a superb talent. I don't think in my opinion, I don't think it's a backup plan. I think they've got, Jake Evans, they've got Ryan Poehling. I think Montreal is kind of set in the center spot. I think this is as Drew Dekes said before as well, Shayne, this is a win now move. And once again, a lot of people will argue that this is a win now move, but you're bringing in an older player in a win now move. I think he's trying to solidify the leadership and, a hard grinder and a hockey player to come in and to make everybody accountable that's on the ice. I really, truly think that's the case. I also think that there's probably one other move up. There's probably one other move coming. Don't know when, don't know what, but you'd have to think there's got to be one more coming.
Cole Caufield. Sorry, I have a. Excuse me.
I can't wait to watch him.
That would be enough for me. Like as much as maybe another defensive piece to solidify the absence of Ben Sherratt, but maybe Cale Fleury steps in and gets a shot and plays great, and then just I don't know, who knows, right? But then you don't have to move anybody. But in terms of salary cap implication, that's where you got to really see if these moves would make sense. But if you're able to get Caufield in an entry level deal, like we said, it's going to happen very soon or not at all, I think. So that's something to keep an eye on. We could use the goal scoring and we could use the depth scoring from Eric Staal. So two things that we would really need if we want to make a playoff push.
Yeah. Thanks, Anton. You take care of yourself, bud.
Thanks, Anton.
Let's go back over here to that. There you go, right there. No, that's a good point. So Eric Staal comes in. Fourth line of the Montreal Canadiens is... Let's talk about that fourth line. We know Byron is really not going to be on that fourth line. He's going to be probably on the taxi squad. Or do you put Staal on the taxi squad and say, okay, Staal said, I don't think they're going to do that. So who does he play with on the fourth line?
It's tough to see Byron coming in the lineup sometimes. I guess I just feel for Byron because I think he's more fitted for I think he would really love to be on the third line again just to be able to get more minutes, but that's just not where the team is at. I mean, it's a good problem to have him have to be on the fourth line, but oh man, it's a good question because Stalzy can really go up and down the lineup, which means that, in my opinion, I don't think Dom Ducharme's he's going to be open-minded. We've already seen him shuffle the lines like crazy. So whoever's going and whoever he has the chemistry with right off the bat, I think is who he's going to play with. But third or fourth line makes the most sense, Aaron. I think you're probably correct on that, obviously, but I just like that he can just come in and play. Like we've said this the whole time, all 55 minutes, is that Stalzy just has to come in and play and be himself. And I think that he could play the wing as well, like Shayne and I were mentioning earlier. So that's also another asset that they can use with him in the lineup.
Yeah, in 2004, 2005, the year that I believe they won the Cup, Eric Staal had 45 goals and a total of 100 points. And you fast forward that to his first year in Minnesota, or his second year in Minnesota, he got 42 goals. I mean, he lit it up that year. Then the year after, 22 goals. And then the year 2019, 19 goals. And currently in Buffalo, he's got 3 goals and 7 points. So a question for you, Shayne, is, I mean, you obviously answered this a little bit more, but I just want to, 100% verify with what you're saying. You believe that a 3rd and a 5th round pick, because it's this year and it's this draft, you think it's a very low price for a leadership like Eric Staal?
100%. I think this is a steal. And like when I saw the rumors for Eric Staal, in my mind, I was like, okay, it's going to be like a 2nd and a 3rd, but to get a 3rd and a 5th, I mean, that's a really good price. I'm excited. And to touch on where he would fit in the lineup, who knows? Who knows? Like it really depends on the chemistry, right? If you say you put him with, I don't know, Byron or Lehkonen or Petrie or Perry, my bad. If it clicks right away, then why fix what's not broken? So I think Schaum is going to try a bunch of different combinations, see what works well, and hope for the best. But I think this is a great trade, great value. I'm pumped.
If you say that, then I mean, what's Montreal? Why wouldn't they move a 2nd or a 1st round pick for next year or this year? Why wouldn't that be their big thing, to move a player with a large value that's still on it, in terms of, I'm just going to say the name because everybody's probably thinking it, even though he's an amazing player, a great character person, a Paul Byron type of contract, where he, that becomes an essential part of a deal, along with a 1st or maybe even a 2nd, and you swing him over to a Nashville or something like that, where you can make an exchange on the defense side. You're still giving away, once again, a 1st round pick. Maybe something like that can work, because they need to shed that salary.
I actually have a question on that. I'm not sure. Is the draft this year going to be in Montreal? Because I know last year it was supposed to be, and then they moved it, obviously. But is this year supposed to be in Montreal, or is it even going to be in person again? Is it going to be online?
I have a feeling it's supposed to be online the same way it was last time. Yeah. Okay,
then in that case, this might be an indication of things to come. I think like maybe that's what Bergevin is thinking. These picks are not guaranteed whatsoever. You don't really know what you're getting. So maybe he does go after, an Ekholm or a Vince Dunn or whatnot, a good defensive piece to fit next to Weber or Petrie or whatever. But this might be a sign of things to come for sure.
I think Dunn is a little slow. I mean, Ekholm would be the guy, right?
Yeah.
Ekholm would be the guy because he's got speed. He still has another year left on his contract. That to me is a move. If you make that move, you're adding on a piece that is, a number one defenseman. I mean, really, he can slot in your top 4. And it changes the whole dynamic of their back end, right? And
he's a big boy too, 6'4", 215, Ekholm. Him and Weber, I mean,
that would change everything. In my opinion, that would change everything. That would be, okay, we're definitely in win now mode, right? And then you've got your backup centers, and you got your young centers. Then you have that mix, that kind of gel that a lot of teams really want, where they're highly skilled up front. They're, they're top 6. They've got a mix of veteran presence in the back. Like, I mean, then Montreal at that point has that. Like I said, they have that gel, they have that chemistry, they have that mix. It's all about, will he do it? Someone writing in right now says Byron's been on waivers. No one wants to do it for free. I get that. And that's a very valid point, Habs gives. It's a valid point. But what we're trying to say is that if you have a 1st round pick, the Vegas Golden Knights showed this, I think, out of any team, where they said, listen, we'll take on contracts that you don't want. You give us picks, right? And I think this is the year where you can make that same type of arrangement with certain teams. You know, I've always had this belief that Montreal and Nashville have some sort of working relationship together. You know, Nashville does not want to see Weber retire because the cap recapture on that contract would be very large, and obviously Nashville would have to pay for that, right? I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying that there's a lot of factors that a lot of these GMs talk about and think about prior to making any of these deals, and that's why you may see a deal. And I'm not saying that there's one coming up. I'm just saying you may see something that certain fans are going to say, "Hey, we lost on that deal," but you know what? Long term, I don't think they will. I think there's more to it than kind of meets the eye. If Montreal does do a deal with Nashville, I really believe that. What's this comment right now? Nashville is going to be very careful now, seeing Bergevin fleecing people. I honestly don't believe this is a fleece. I really don't. I think Eric Staal, my opinion, Eric Staal is a veteran who I don't think the Buffalo Sabres wanted him to be with that organization if he wanted out. And when there was one offer, they just said, "Hey, you know, you've been playing in this league since 2005. You've won a cup. You're a great leader. If you want out, we've got an offer. We're willing to take it and move from there." And I think that's what they did. I honestly believe the Sabres did the right thing here. I don't believe Eric Staal asked for a trade or demanded anything to that extent. Get me out of here right now. Right now. I just think they got an opportunity, and because who Eric Staal is, they allowed that to happen. So I'm happy with that organization for doing that. Sometimes you have to do that. We did it with Thomas Plekanec when we sent him over to Toronto, gave him an opportunity to win. It was a win-win for everybody. Plekanec came back, ended his career, right?
I like this comment down below here, and I just threw it up. Staal to Montreal. It rhymes. It works.
So here, I'm going to ask everybody in the comment section very quickly, Eric Staal, what number is he going to wear in Montreal? What is his number? We should put like a poll up on or a couple of options on Twitter for this. But in the comment sections, what number will he be wearing? Because he can't wear number 12. We know that. Right? Oh, no. Right? First person says number 12. No, he can't wear that.
It's retired, man.
It's gone. Maybe 21. There you go. Flip it over.
Yeah.
That's a good option. Okay. So we have one person saying 21. Oh, yes, Pedro, 69.
76. Yeah. You see that one there?
Oh, PK flashbacks.
Shots fired on that one. 81. Oh, I like that. 22. Hey.
Oh, Dale Weiss.
You know
that
what?
number's getting retired. You can't have that.
Could you imagine Staal
22? Come on.
22? We should message him on Instagram right now. Be like, dude, take 22.
I think someone in the comments said, "Is Staal the new Weiss?" Those are some big shoes to fill. You know, you can't be throwing that name around so easily. But wow,
David Arthur, 97. Oh, that's great.
Oh man, you know what though? This does remind me of the 2014 run when they grabbed somebody like Thomas Vanek. Now I know he had a bit more of a scoring touch at the time, but I mean 2014-15 we were making these kind of moves. So I'm actually finally really excited about the fourth line potential now that I've actually had time to think about it here while we've been chatting. I mean, if we somehow are able to land Caufield, throw him on the third line with like KK and Toffoli, like let's just say we have three decent scoring lines, and then you do Eric Staal, Corey Perry, and Paul Byron on the fourth line, or Byron or Perry, Staal, and Armia. Say Armia gets bumped down to the fourth line. Like the fourth line is going to be sweet. Looking forward, I'm looking forward to getting more out of the fourth line than we already had.
Oh, you're rolling on it. Oh, I love Habs GIF over here saying that if he takes 22, he'll have to get Weesie a Rolex. That is awesome. That is so funny. Will. This Habs GIF is hysterical. This guy.
He's got some great gifts, man. We see him on our Twitter feed all the time. Great gifts from Habs GIFs. There's some funny stuff coming from there.
Yeah. Pedro said, just read Staal had 47 points in 66 games last year. Not bad. Yeah, absolutely not bad.
He's not done, man.
He's like a Petrie. He's better with age, smart, a very smart hockey player. And that's what you need right now on this team, right? Montreal's going to, and listen, the fact is you got to think as well, the condensed schedule they're going to have now with the games that they've missed, they need a lot of players. They're going to have to be moving back and forth with certain players from the taxi squad because they're going to have games, a couple of games here, a couple of games there. So why not have certain individuals you can bank on, bring them in, get that fourth line to the third line and vice versa. Cole Caufield, oh boy, would you bring him up? So let's say they sign him a contract and their first game Montreal plays is against Ottawa. Would you bring? Well, Caufield would have to go through quarantine, so that negates that. But 7 days from now, would you throw Caufield in to one of the first games that he can go in with?
Oh man, I mean, he's been so hot that we know it doesn't automatically translate to the NHL. We know that, but I don't know. He just seems like the kind of guy or kind of kid that could just jump in. And, Max Pacioretty scored on his first shift in the NHL, right? I mean, I know that's a different comparison, different body types, all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, my gosh, I just think it's worth a chance. He's worth a look. Why not throw him in I don't know. Maybe in my scouting report isn't as good as the professionals, but the way he's been rolling, I think he's just screaming to the Canadiens, give me a chance, guys. I'm ready. That's what I'm getting.
Oh, he's a treat to watch. I mean, he's really fun to watch here. And if you look at everybody on the chat with what they're saying, I think it's unanimous. People on the chat don't want him. They want him to go into Laval. But I mean, listen, you're allowed to give him a couple of games. Why not put him in? Why not? That's the thing. Why don't you take a player like that and force the organization to say, sorry, you need a little bit more to develop and you need to go back down. I have no issue whatsoever if they go in this year and they use him for 6 games, whatever that number is, even if they burn him for his first entry-level contract and throw him in Laval next year. What is the harm when you have a talent like that? And especially right now where the other players on the team have not adapted to that skill set, right? We saw in the sophomore year this year with Suzuki. Last year. We saw not last year, sorry. We saw it with Kotkaniemi where a lot of the other teams and their centers, they knew where Suzuki and Kotkaniemi were shooting now. They got to adapt to them a little bit more. So it was a harder game for those fellows to basically, I got to change up my style at that point. And I think, but the first years that they were in there, you had the ability where people were surprised by them. So if you're going all in, so here's the question, boys. Are the Habs going all in this year or next year? If they are, expect another trade. Expect something coming back. I'm not talking Taylor Hall. I'm talking a defenseman. And I'm talking expect something to happen. Bergevin, he's got to make something happen. He's got to bring something in. He's got to bring something out. He's proven right now, cannot take him at his word. He said he wasn't going to do a trade. He's obviously going to do trades. Expect something to happen. I don't think this is the last move. I really don't. We know Caufield's coming, but expect something to happen. If I'm wrong, let us know in the comments. What do you think? Remember also to smash the subscribe button and to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and on Instagram as well. Let's get it on that. I mean, Hab Gifts. I got to buy Habs Gifts a coffee. These guys are amazing. Guys or girls. I apologize. I don't know. Taylor Hall is overrated. He's a hell of a talent. I'll tell you that much. Taylor Hall is one. I think the only thing that is overrated with Taylor Hall is his agent. He should have been able to sign a much longer deal, but I predict this. Taylor Hall is going to end up signing an 8-year deal in in Buffalo. There's 2 types of players who will do anything to win and take a low, hit on a contract, or players who just want the money. I think Taylor has put himself in a position where he's going to have to rinse, wash, and repeat the same thing again next year, sign a 1-year deal. It's unfortunate because, you're in a pandemic, but I think the older he gets, he's going to have to say, okay, I just want security and the Sabres can build around me. I think that's what's going to happen there. So let's keep going through the comments. I'll leave this with you two gentlemen to read the comments, and I will just watch you as you both go.
Yeah, well, going back to Caufield again, I know some people are hesitant to see him jump up on the Canadiens right away, but we've seen how much better the Canadiens power play has gotten under Alex Burrows. What if it got even better? And that means bringing in Caufield and say Eric Staal on the first unit. We've seen the second unit step up and do even better than the first unit. So, I mean, like Aaron said, why not get him in on the entry-level deal? Like Alex Romanov burned his first entry-level deal in the bubble last summer, and he didn't play a single game with the Canadiens. So why not burn that deal while Caufield can get some playing time before the playoffs, see what they have in him. If it's too early, you send him down to Laval. There's no harm in signing him to the franchise at this point, whether he goes to the Rocket or the Canadiens. So that's why I'm saying that he should at least get signed, and we expect that he likely will. At least that's the sense that we're getting. And if Bergevin is as serious as he's showing, I don't expect anything less. Because if you're going to take a shot right now, you need goals. And if he comes in and he can show that he's ready, and if he's not, he goes down to Laval. Worst case scenario, it's not a lose. It's a win-win for me.
I want one thing, and sorry, Shayne. The one thing that I want is for the next game in overtime to start off with Shea Weber, Corey Perry, and Eric Staal all together on the same line with Carey Price in there, reunite the Olympians, and everybody will be like, there you go, Team Canada on the ice at that point, and everybody in Habs fans will be ripping. And guess what? They'll probably end up scoring, and the game will end in 2 seconds. And they'll be like, "Well, that was the greatest idea, taking all these guys that are in their late 30s."
Oh man, remember that move Perry just made in the shootout? That was wicked too. That was awesome.
You know what? I know I'm sorry, Shayne. I won't let you talk. I apologize. But to me, like I said, GMs around the league now are literally kicking themselves that they let Corey Perry slip through on waivers, and how lucky we are as an organization to realize if you have a choice to make between Paul Byron and Corey Perry, you know who you're picking. And I would say the same thing. If you have a choice to make between Lehkonen and Corey Perry, who do you put? You know, that's a hard decision because we're not talking about long term. We know long term who the better player is and who's going to have a longer career at this point. But what is it for today and tomorrow? What do you make that decision?
Here, by the way,
what was that? Sorry,
I was saying I'm with David here. By the way, this comment at the bottom of our screen.
Sorry, I got to let Shayne talk because I've been yapping over him, and I apologize about that.
Shayne, we're sorry. We've been excited here.
It's en français.
No, ça c'est lundi. That's Monday. But I completely agree with everything you guys have said. Honestly, I don't really have much to add. But I do want Caufield to play for Laval a bit. I think Joël Bouchard is insanely good at developing young prospects, and just the whole vibe of the team in the locker room. It seems to be amazing. Right, they're on a tear right now. Obviously, they lost in shootouts last game, but still, they've been doing so well, and they've got some good veterans in Laval as well. So whatever Berge decides to do with Caufield, I'm supporting 100%.
Yeah, it's just at this point, I mean, Kotkaniemi, as per this comment from Habs Gift here, KK came in at 18 years old, and the Canadiens were desperate for centerman at that point. At this point, Caufield's 20 years old, has had another year and a half to develop, 2 World Juniors behind him, improve the defensive side of his game. If you look at Caufield's plus minuses in the last 2 seasons, they've skyrocketed, and that's on both sides of the puck. So you also have to be encouraged by that also. It's not just his offense that he can bring. He's also showing that his dynamics in the game are also growing, and he can be more than just a goal scorer. Even at times, he can be a really good playmaker. So again, power play. You need that going into the playoffs.
I'm reading a tweet right now from Connor McKenna. And for those who don't know, Connor McKenna is a radio personality in Montreal. And he writes, Staal, Weber, Price, the Canadiens are all in to win the 2011 Stanley Cup. I think that's a little, obviously he's
sarcastic.
He's being sarcastic. I get it. And I like Connor. He's a nice guy. But a lot of people are
not a very nice tweeter, though.
No, not a lot of people are very happy with his tweet there. But he's trying to get people to react. Put it that way.
Yeah,
but like I said, I don't mind Connor. I think he does a great job in the morning with his show. I think he's blocked Anik. So that's not good.
Yeah, that's a no strike zone. You don't block her. That's not cool. She's the rock of this team. You don't do
put
that.
A baby in the corner.
Not cool. Not cool.
Yeah. So I take that back. Unblock her, and then we'll be friends. Connor.
You know how valuable she is, Aaron. You know.
It's her birthday, so
it's her birthday. So
yes, absolutely. Oh, someone said he's a troll. Okay, so we had another comment over here. If Caufield is coming, it'd be nice to add a depth piece right now. If we were bringing him in to be a top dog, don't expect anything. Yeah, it's a very good point. Absolutely. You can't expect Caufield to come in there. You're expecting him to come in, maybe get a couple of minutes on the power play, see how he plays, right? No one knows how he plays it, and that's the part of him. If he can get you in, even on an OT or something like that, why not use him? I'm trying to think of a situation where, a player like Caufield or someone of that, type of ilk, where it came into the league where no one really knew much about him, but knew that they were a star and had the opportunity to come in like that. I'm trying to think.
Well, if you look, I mean, he's not a star per se, but like Alex DeBrincat is the one that's been compared the most to Caufield, and that guy's the same height as Caufield, 5'7", and he just put up like a 40-goal, back-to-back 40-goal season with the Chicago Blackhawks, at least one anyway. I'm just going off the top of my head, but I mean, there's a recipe for success for Caufield, and that's not going to happen right away. But I like this line, Toffoli, KK, Caufield, like. Come on, don't tell me that doesn't sound sexy right now, Montreal Canadiens fans.
Oh, boy. I got to get my jerseys out.
Come on.
Let's
give it a shot.
I'll be honest with you. I am worried, and please, I want to be wrong. If not, bank this clip at 1 hour and 16 minutes. That I am worried that Montreal, there's going to be an offer on the table for a player, and Berge is going to give away a first, even a second, and Caufield, and Hab fans will. They're going to get an amazing player back. They'll be happy, but we will lose a player. I just have this. I don't know why I have this feeling. I just have this gut feeling. That's all it is a gut feeling. And it doesn't help when Bergevin says, no trades are coming. Don't worry about it, everybody. Nothing's happening. This is a vegan hot dog, I promise. And then all of a sudden you get a big trade and you find out the hot dog actually wasn't vegan. I have this feeling. I just don't trust what's going on right now.
We're going to find out really soon though, right, Aaron? Like that's another thing is like, the NCAA season just ended for Caufield like now. So we're going to find that out if they're interested in bringing him. It's not going to take very long for Bergie to get on the phone to Caufield's agent. So this is a selfish showing of this next one because I just thought it was pretty funny. Look at this.
Sorry, I just changed it. I apologize.
Someone said, like, that is a lofty comparison. This the other day was somebody compared our show to Spit and Chicklets, and someone's putting Drew.
Steve, listen, Dangles is great, man. What a talent that dude is. He honestly, we'll give credit to anybody who does a great job or even tries to do a really great job and it just has the effort. And Steve Dangles, if you're a Leafs fan, and I live in Toronto, amazing talent, and he forced. I love what he did because Dangles forced. Rogers and other people to take notice of his skill and his talent. So good on him, and to be, in that type of
I have his
in
book,
that company.
Man.
That's great.
He inspired me. Like, yeah, his story is legit. There's no love lost for Steve Dangle. He's the real deal, man. Whether you like him or not, he made his living. He's making his living as a professional hockey fan, and I think that's what a lot of us are trying to do right now. So,
well, hey, as more and more companies are reducing their sports casting talent, and that part of the industry is not growing. It takes companies like what we're doing and a few other people, and there's so many wonderful Habs community channels and YouTube channels, and everybody's having a really good time. And we're just lucky that we're able to do it with guests, and we were able to do it with NHL players. But everybody does an amazing job, and I've seen so much great content that's being done out there. So everybody who's doing Habs content, keep doing it, man. Like, there's Talking Habs. It's a great show. I mean, there's so much good stuff. Oh, Rick is great.
Rick's a cool dude, man.
Yeah. Let's look at this comment right here. Stahl's fine, but you got to keep him fresh. He's no spring chicken. Yeah, it's a fair point, right?
That's what they're gonna do. They'll make sure he's fresh. I actually have to log off, guys, so I'm gonna let you go. But thanks for all those that tuned in today to this live episode of the acquisition of Eric Staal to the Montreal Canadiens. I'm still saying it's still kind of surreal because I have a friend who actually played his first NHL game from Niagara Falls for the Carolina Hurricanes, and his first game was at the Bell Center against Carolina and Eric Staal. And he was saying how in the locker room before they went out there, he was talking to Eric Staal and going like, "How you feeling, Staal? Are you feeling good?" And he's like, they're just like in the literally in the shower. And he's just like, "I'm just warming up the body, buddy. Warming up the body." That was how calm and relaxed Eric Staal was before a game. So that's just a fun story to throw out there as I sign off. But I'm really excited to have this guy and see what he can bring to the Canadiens down the stretch. So you guys take it from here. Thank you for having me on. Go Habs, go.
Thank you, Drew Dekes. Drew Dekes is out of here. So now it's just the Shayne O'Master and myself. What's going on,
Aaron? I have some interesting stats here to get people pumped up. So Eric Staal, right? That's 1,272 games played, 1,031 points, and 12 seasons of 20-plus goals. And he's also a member of the Triple Goal Club. So that is a huge piece that we just added. Whether or not he's, on the older side, he can still play. This guy's a natural hockey player. I'm pumped.
Another member of the Triple Gold Club is Chris Pronger, who's going to be on our show next week. So go check out Pronger. I'm intimidated by him just looking at him through the camera. It's going to be awesome for a live show for people to call up and get on the show. That's going to be great. And Pedro, our thoughts on the hockey guy on YouTube? He does a great job. Amazing. So good. I always enjoy watching that channel. YouTube and hockey channels should not be fighting against each other. We're this, we're better. No, it's just creating content for fans, right? So it's what this is all about, right? These are great channels, and there's so many of them. And even one of our own, Alyssa Hope, she's got a great channel too that does hockey. So I mean, it's all about promoting it. Okay, so let's look at what other comments that we have over here. I think Staal can help. Yeah, it's going to be dynamic to see where they fit him in. It's going to be interesting to see how they fit him in. And is this the last domino that falls? I believe there'll be another, 116 on the mark over here. I believe there are more dominoes to fall in the next couple of weeks. Who will that be? Will there be someone going in, someone coming out? Montreal's got a first pick this year. They've got a second. Will they move them? I believe they will. I believe there will be an addition to the back end. And I believe this team will be, when they come to the playoffs, they will be a stacked team. I think everybody, like they say, bargain Bergevin and these fourth line guys, that's what everybody jokes about. He has a track record. I'm not denying that. But I believe he's going to make a splash, and he's going to find a way to do that this year. He'll find a way. I'm telling you, there's something that's going to happen, and there'll be something that happens because he knows that this team is probably the best chance he has to getting his contract renewed for a couple of years. Remember, Montreal just has to win 2 series, and they're in the conference final against teams they've been playing all year long. This is their best opportunity because of the North Division.
100%. I'm not sure if there's going to be other moves, but I'm thinking just like you, Aaron. I think there's something coming, and if there is, it's going to be at defense. Right now, our D is the weak point of the team, something that needs to improve. I'm not sure what kind of moves we could make, who we would move, but it's all in Berge's hands now. We have to trust him at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, or fortunately, we're in the hands of a general manager right now, and we'll see how the team looks. And no one expected the Montreal Canadiens to be missing multiple games, and COVID. And once again, our thoughts go out to everybody involved. Hopefully, the families, everybody's safe, and they get better. No one really knows the long-term effects for an athlete point of view because it's such a new virus. So 4 years from now, 5 years from now, we hope everything will be okay. We just don't know. The interesting thing is, we got a trade. We've got Eric Staal, the Montreal Canadiens. We've only had to give up the 3rd and the 5th round. We now have the ability to give up a 1st, 2nd, 4th. Later on, you can go, higher up, obviously. But Montreal's got wiggle room. like I said, I think that there's another room, that there's something else to go. Someone asks about Dan Dano. Do you think Dano is going to move on? I think his biggest problem is I think it's unfortunate for him that he didn't sign that contract at the beginning of the year. And it's fortunate for the organization right now, because with the emergence of Jake Evans, with the emergence right now of the other two centers in Kotkaniemi as well as Suzuki, the team can take a little bit of a breather and kind of say, okay, you know what are we going to do? Because remember, if Philip Danault goes to the market, he'll probably get $4 or $5 million. He probably will get the 5, maybe 5.5 if he goes to UFA. So what do you do, right? This is the problem. What do you do in that situation?
Yeah, I think both Danault and Tatar are important pieces of the team. Before, obviously, we had to stop playing. Their line with Gallagher was just nuts. I mean, the last couple of games, they were getting the chemistry back together. And people sleep on Danault because, he's not the big flashy guy that'll get you goals every night, but he is so effective on the defensive end and on the penalty kill. He's just making those little plays that essentially help the team win. So I really hope that Danault and Tatar decide to stick around and we don't ship him, but I don't know. There's always something going on with Berge. Can never predict him.
Yeah, and as Randy says in the chat, he does not like losing free agents, so it'll be interesting. Someone says the Habs guy says we should pick up Getzlaf. That's yeah. Who knows? I all these jokes about age, and I'm sitting here, the older guy. Come on, these players are younger than me, and they still got grit, they still got it, and we'll see. We're gonna sign off right now. Once again, click that subscribe button. Don Cherry's on this weekend, and next week we have Thomas Plekanec as well. Next week we have Chris Pronger joining us live, taking your questions and calls and getting into the mix. Follow us at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you want, at Habs Tonight. That's the hashtag, that's our handle, at Habs Tonight. If you have any question or comment for the show, you can always email us, show@habstonight.com, show@habstonight.com. For everybody involved in the program, for Shayne, I'd like to wish you all a very happy evening, and congratulations to Eric Staal. And I'll say it in English. Welcome to the Montreal Canadiens in the city of Montreal. En français, Mr. Shayne.
Bienvenue à Montréal, Monsieur Staal. On est excité de vous avoir.
Go Habs, go. We'll see you tomorrow with Don Cherry.
Yeah.
Have a great one. Take care.